Hi guys, my name is Brecken Harper and I am here today with Miss Becky Trammell. We are both from Rankin County School District. I am a school counselor at Brandon Elementary and Becky is a school counselor at Flowood Elementary.
Yes.
And we're very excited to be here with y'all today. We are going to be learning all about empathy. And I have some really fun things planned for us. We're going to play a guessing game and do a couple of science experiments and then make a really neat craft. And I can't wait to get started. But first, let me tell you a couple of things that you're going to need to make the craft. So you will need a piece of paper. Whatever kind of paper you have will work. A pair of scissors. Safety first though. Remember to ask for permission or have an adult help you. And crayons or markers and something to write with, maybe like a darker marker or a pencil. So I'm going to give you just a minute to gather those things and then we'll get started. Okay, so I want to start today by looking at these things I have on the table here. So I think you can see them. So let's look. What do I have here? I have a pair of sunglasses, a microscope, some 3D glasses, and a pair of binoculars. So what do you think all of these things have in common? What do you think, Ms. Trammell?
Well, they are all used to see things at a different way, different angle, different perspective.
That's right. They all help us see things differently. Sunglasses will help us see in the bright sunshine when we're outside. A microscope will help us see things that are small, really close up. And 3D glasses, they'll help us see special effects in movies and on videos. And then binoculars help us see things that are really far away, really close up. So all of these things help us see things from a different perspective. And that's very important for our lesson today. I wanted to get you thinking about that because when you learn about empathy and demonstrating empathy, seeing things from somebody else's perspective is very important. So I'm going to pull up my slide now and let's talk about what is empathy. So empathy is understanding and sharing the feelings of others. Now that sounds really, really simple and sometimes it can be, but then other times it's not so easy. And there's some steps that you need to follow if you're going to empathize with somebody. So let's go to the next slide. So to have empathy for someone, you should try to identify their feelings or emotions. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at their face. What does their face look like? Do they look happy or sad? And then maybe you're going to look at their body language. You know, are they like this? Are they real open and happy? Are they excited? Or maybe you need to listen to the words that they're saying because sometimes the words we say and the way we say them are very different. If I say, I'm fine, I really don't sound like I'm fine, do I? So tone of voice is very important. And the other thing you can look at to figure out somebody's emotions or feelings is their actions. What are they doing? Because a lot of times the things we do will give you a clue as to how that person is feeling. And so fun fact, as I was researching for this lesson, I realized that feelings and emotions are not the same. I guess I'd never really thought about it.
I haven't either.
But emotions are actually the way your body responds to different situations. So it's the physical reaction. So like if you're nervous, you might hear somebody's voice quiver or, you know, they might get where they're shaking, or if you get really upset, you know, you might get almost like you're crying or your heart starts to beat really quickly. So those are actually your emotions. A feeling is the way your brain identifies what your body is doing, which is actually pretty cool. I had never really thought about that.
No, I hadn't.
So that was our fun fact. Let's see. So another way you would have empathy for someone is to think about how you would feel if you were in their situation. So you really have to put yourself in their shoes or make a connection to that person based off of some experience maybe you've had in the past and really try to think how they would think. And the last one is really the most important. It's you have to try to see things from their perspective, which kind of sounds easy, but it's really not because there's a lot that goes into somebody's perspective. So I'm going to go to that slide and let's figure out what is perspective. Well, perspective is our individual way of looking at something. So a lot goes into that. Let's see. Your experiences, what have you been through in the past? What's happened to you? you know, anything that you've gone through, that's going to be part of your perspective. Whoop, I went backwards. Let's go forward. And next, your preferences, what you like and you don't like. I mean, that's huge because I may like pizza. Ms. Trammell may hate pizza. You know, we all have different things that we like or don't like. So our next one are our feelings, which we already know is the way our brain identifies our body's emotional response. So feelings are a big deal because anytime you interact with other people, you may have some strong feelings or things may come up that you hadn't thought about in a while. So feelings definitely are a part of your perspective, your thoughts. So the way you think about something, including the things you don't ever say out loud, because, you know, you have to remember, just like you have thoughts that you don't share with other people, so do other people. So, and the last one is background knowledge. So what do you know? Because a lot of times if we know something about this situation or we have some information, that's going to change the way we perceive it. So an individual's perspective is huge. So we're going to play a guessing game because this will help us get in the mood of perspective. So what I did was I have a digital microscope, which is really cool, by the way, and I went around my house and I took pictures of different things that I found, and they're really, really close up. So I want to see if y'all can guess what those things are. So we'll go to our first slide and we'll let you see. Now this is something that everybody probably has in their house, and if you don't, I'm sure you're really familiar with it. So I'm going to give you a second just to see what you think. So what do you think that could be? What do you think, Ms. Trammell?
You said it's in the house.
It is.
Okay. I'm going to think that right there might be a sponge.
Ms. Trammell is a really good
my
guesser
goodness.
because it is a sponge. Look at that. It looks weird, though, up close. Look, you can see these little holes. It almost looks like something lives there. So it is a sponge. All right, let's go to our next picture and see if you can figure it out.
Oh, that one's a little tough.
It may be a little bit harder. So you may not have it at your house, but you probably have it at school.
Okay, at school, with that, it might be, it's like, you know, chalk that people use to write.
It is. You are a really good guesser. It is chalk. All right, let's go to our next picture. Now this one may be a little easy.
Yes, that
you
is
can pretty much see what it is, but I thought it was so cool the way you can see the little pieces coming out of the thread.
Yeah, that is neat.
So it is a needle and thread.
I like that one.
All right, this one may be a little bit harder.
Ooh.
So what do you think it is?
Ice.
It does look like ice.
Yeah, it looks like ice.
So it actually is salt. Now, you wouldn't think that salt looks like that because that makes you think it would be crunchy, but that's what salt looks like when you put it under a microscope. And so now our last one.
A coin.
It is a coin. Can you identify what coin?
I'm going to say a penny.
Yeah, it looks like a penny, but it actually is a dime. Something happened with the light, I think, but I thought it was so cool the way you could see those ridges. It almost looks like a bottle cap, but it is a dime. So that was really fun.
That was. It was very neat to see how things look different and different perspective, different light.
So I know y'all probably made some really great guesses at home too, just like Ms. Trammell did here. But just like she said, I wanted you to see that sometimes the way something looks close up is not at all what it is when you back away. And that's just like what our perspective is like. Because remember I said all those things go into your personal perspective. And so it's very unique to each individual. You may find somebody who's similar to you with the way they perceive things, but there'll probably be a lot of people who are very different from you. So when we look really close at a situation, we're not really seeing the big picture the way others would see it. So we really have to take that step back and try to think, you know, how is somebody else experiencing the same thing? Because it could be very, very different, even if you're in the exact same room doing the exact same thing. So perspective is huge. And so I want to do another experiment. Now, we've already kind of talked about our brains and how they do some really cool things with the emotions and stuff. So another thing that happens that we have to be careful about is our brains are really powerful and they do some amazing things. So like if we're in the middle of something and something's going on and it's chaotic or we get really upset, we may miss some details. And a lot of times when that happens, our brain is going to fill in those holes, which is crazy amazing because it's like your brain has a filing cabinet, and if something doesn't make sense or if something's a missing piece and kind of what happened, your brain's going to flip right through everything that it knows, every piece of information that it's had stored, and it's going to plug in whatever makes the most sense at that time. Really great. It really helps in some situations, but it's not always 100% accurate. So sometimes, like if you've been in an argument, a lot of times we'll see it with kids when they come in with conflict at school and they've been arguing with each other, they cannot get past what they saw happen or what they believe happened. And that's why when you have kids come in and tell you their side of the story, you're going to get so many different sides of the story.
Yes.
So that's your brain helping you, but sometimes it just kind of gets things mixed up. So we're going to do a little bit of an experiment to demonstrate that for you today. So here I have just a picture of a cat. You may recognize this cat, and I believe it's from a movie. So I've got him in a Ziploc bag, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to my water, and when you look down inside the glass, when I put this cat down in the water, watch what happens. It's really cool. So here he goes. Let's see what's starting to happen there.
It looks like it's starting to disappear.
Yeah, he is kind of starting to disappear. And so it all depends on your angle, because remember we are talking about perspective. So if I get him too far down, you're going to be able to see him. But let me get it just right. Boop. There he goes. So if I start to slide him back up, you're going to see him come into view again.
That is really neat.
So that's really cool.
I
and so
know.
there's another thing that I want to do with that same cat. So here's the same cat in a Ziploc bag. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a Sharpie and I'm going to trace his mouth. All right, getting his teeth done. Okay. So there it is. All I've done is I've just outlined his mouth and his teeth with the Sharpie marker. So now we're going to put it back down in the jar and do the same thing that we did before. I'm going to ease it down in here. Let me move that hand. Do you see that? Do you see what happened?
Yes, I can just only see the
Can you
mouth.
see his mouth just barely down there? Oh, let me tip it so everybody else can see it. There we go. Look, it's like his mouth is just sitting there floating. But if I pull it back up, you're going to see that the whole cat is there. I'm going to put it right back down one more time. There it is.
That right there is really neat.
That's just really cool. So I'm going to explain these kind of things in just a minute, but I have one more that I want to show you. So here I have just an arrow, right? Okay, so which way is this arrow facing?
Okay. Right now it is facing to the left.
It is. So I'm going to take the same arrow that's facing to the left, and we're going to put it right here behind the glass and see if we can see. All right, did it change directions? Or is it still facing the left?
Still, I think it's still facing left.
All right, let's see what happens if I move it back just a little. You see it coming in?
Yes. And now it's switched sides.
Let's do it again. All right, so there it is. And if I pull it back,
yes, that's neat.
It's switched sides.
That's another neat experiment.
So these things I just wanted to show you because, like I was saying, your brain is very powerful and it'll fill in information for you, but your brain does have some limits. So this experiment works because of light refraction. Basically, your eyes see light in a straight line, and when we put it in the water, the water and the angle that we're looking into it kind of makes it bend, and it makes it where we can't see it. So even though we know this cat was on the paper, when we look down in here, we can't see it. So it's almost like you can't see what's right in front of you.
Yeah.
Which sounds crazy, but it's a good way to just demonstrate that sometimes you do need to take a step back and really think, wait a minute, am I really seeing this the way somebody else is? Or did I miss something? Is there something else that I need to do to try to understand, myself or somebody else? So let's go back and talk about perspective, empathy one more time on the slide. Let me go back to the beginning. Okay, whoop. So we were going over those steps of how to have empathy for someone. And we said, try to identify their emotions and their feelings, which are different. We remember that. And then we should think about how we should feel if we were in their situation. So put yourself in their shoes. And then the next one would be see things from their perspective. And we just learned that we have to be really, really careful with perspective, because the way we see something is not at all the way somebody else sees something. And it really have to push yourself to be able to think the way that person might think and see that perspective. And you kind of need to know something about them too, would really help. So, but the last thing I didn't mention before is offer support. So if you really want to offer, empathize with somebody, you need to be able to figure out a way to help them. Now, sometimes there are problems that really can't be helped. So the best thing you can do in some situations is be there for that person. So you need to just ask yourself, is there something I can do to help? Is there a way that I could make this better for them? And then just kind of decide if there's something you could do, like if you need to tell an adult, or if you need to, try to help or get along better with some other people or friends, do that. But if you just need to be there as a friend, then that's the best that you can do, and that's how you can support somebody. So we are going to do our craft, and it's really fun, because one of the ways you need to remember, we said about empathy was to identify emotions and feelings, and one of the best ways you can do that is to practice. So we're going to play a really fun kind of game about, guessing about like emotion charades or feeling charades.
Okay.
But we're going to put a little twist on it. So I'll show you what we're going to do. We're going to have this little fortune teller game. And so we're going to use it to play our emotion charades. And so it's just another fun way that you can practice trying to identify emotions both in yourself and in other people. So you would play it just like you would, and when you flip it up, like when you get to the point where you have your number, you flip it up, and then there's an emotion in there, and so you would try to make the facial expression, body language of the excuse me, of the one that you picked. So let's say I picked sad. So that'll be really fun. So let's get going with our folding, because this can be a little tricky. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a plain sheet of paper.
Okay.
So we are going to, if you want to take yours, Ms. Trammell, and we will get it folded like this. So we're going to take the point and fold it over so that you get this triangle right here, because we're going to need a square piece of paper, and this paper isn't square, so we're just going to make it square. So we're going to fold it over like that. Are you good?
All right, yes.
So then we're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut this piece off. So here we are. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to fold that square into a triangle the other direction, because we already had one triangle fold. So we're just going to fold it the opposite way. So your paper is going to look just like this. See, it kind of looks like a hat or a tent. Good?
All right, yep, got it.
All right, so then we're going to take our square and we're going to fold every point into the middle. So we're just going to fold along. Here I am here. I've got two sides folded. And you're really making another square.
It's been a long time since I made one of these.
These were so fun when I was in school. They're back around again. I see kids making them all the time.
All right.
Okay, so you should wind up with this. Okay, it's like a little pocket. You got yours?
Yep.
All right, so we're gonna take our pocket and we're gonna flip it over so all the little pieces are facing down. And we're gonna fold a square again, so every corner into the middle. Like I said, it seems tricky at first, but if you just kind of follow the whole square, you know, making another square, you can get it figured out, no problem.
Yeah. Because you look at it and think it's complicated.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now you should have this. Yep, we both got the same things. So at this point, we're going to fold it in half like a hot dog, okay? So we're going to fold it one way. Okay, you got yours? All right, and then we're going to fold it the opposite way like a hot dog. Okay, and so now this is the part that gets tricky sometimes. We're going to take it, you see how I'm holding it like this?
Okay.
Okay, and we're going to push it up to the middle together.
Okay.
So we have this diamond shape.
Okay.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay, so once you have that little diamond shape, all you have to do is come in and pop out your little corners. Can you see me do that there? Pop. Okay, got a couple more. You doing okay with yours?
Got them.
All right, now I'm on my last one. Yay! And so there we have it.
All right.
Now I found that it's easier to fold it first and then write on it.
Okay.
I learned that today, the hard way. Don't learn the way I did. So trust me, write on it after you're folded. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the side that looks like this, and that's where you're going to write your colors. You can see on my finished one, that's where we write the colors down. All right, and then on the other side, you're gonna put your numbers, okay?
Okay.
And then you would open it up, and that's where you would write all of your different feelings that you can, when you start to play your game. See them there on the edges? It kind of gives you a template so you know where to write it. And then you can just decorate it any way that you like and fold it right back up, and you will be ready to play with some of your friends so that you can practice identifying emotions and get better at showing empathy and empathizing with others. So I hope you have fun with this craft. It's a really great game because you can do all the little guessing things, and it's so fun. So I am so glad that I got to be here with y'all today, and I know Miss Trammell is as well.
I know, it was very
So
fun
I hope you learned a lot, and maybe we'll see you again. Bye.
Bye.